I'm a fellow entrepreneur, and that's a kind of scary thing. But if you kind of look at these stats, only 13% of people worldwide actually like going to work. And this is done by a Gallup survey. This is really, really a problem. I mean, I travel a lot internationally, and all of the Europeans always say, well, Americans live to work, Europe works to live. And you can see that just with our vacations. And being an entrepreneur, you get a lot of flexibility, but you also have the burden on your shoulders all the time. And okay, it's payroll. Okay, we're getting taxed again. Okay, there are all of these crazy things. But one of the best things that I like about being an entrepreneur is you get to be the leader and you get to pick your team. So whether you're a freelancer or you're a teacher, you are getting to build whatever that culture is that you want to have. We're going to have our own culture here. So we really need to figure out, okay, well, what is it that we all want to get out of this? What are your goals? And this sounds like a very simple question, but I do this as a workshop with my team every single quarter by saying, all right, what are your personal and what are your professional goals? Because my team needs to know that I care about them personally and professionally. So if their goal is to develop our Hispanic marketing department, I want to be able to give them the resources to accomplish their goals. Same thing personally. You want to help a charity? Great. Let's together collectively as a company figure out what sort of charity do we want to support. Maybe we can do pro bono work. So we actually went along this process and try to figure out, all right, well, what represents us? Who are we? Who are we as a group? And how do we want people to perceive us? Because in PR, perception is reality. And it's whatever you're thinking about somebody is who they wind up being. If you say, I want to be a thought leader, guess what? You do speaking engagements and you're a thought leader. Guess what? That's your description now. So with our team, we said, great, we want to be known as friendly. We want to be known as doing what we say we're going to do. We want to be known as progressive. So we wrote down a whole list of brainstorming words and figured out who is it that we want to be as a company. And this is how people describe us now. It's an awesome thing. So I challenge each of you personally to do the same thing. How do you want to be perceived at this conference? How do you want to be perceived in your workspace? Whether, you're a professor or you are a freelancer or you are a business owner, I want to be known as energetic. And people are like, wow, I really love your energy. Well, that's because I said I wanted to be energetic. So really, you just put it down on paper and then you check them off as you go. So we are now having check-in meetings next week talking about, all right, well, this year in 2014, you made a list of goals. Are you halfway through your goals this year? I don't know. Are you? When's the last time you looked at your goals? How many of you in this room actually made goals for yourself in 2014, personally and professionally? Okay, I see a few hands. Have you looked at them? We're now in July. This is Q3. You have about a half of a year to go to complete them. Or if you've already completed them, what are you going to add to them to challenge yourself for the next half of the year? That is passion. And figuring out something that makes you passionate, I was always told, if you're good at it and you're passionate about it, the money will come. And I found that to be true, fortunately, but that's the best advice that I ever got. So the 13% of people who are who are happy in their jobs, I kind of put that back on them. Why are you unhappy? Go find a place where you can be happier. Why do you stay driving in a rat race or whatever the situation is? Get out of it and go do something for yourself. And all of you have done something for yourselves because that's why you are doing it. And if you're not doing it, change it. So Steve Jobs, I have a few quotes that I like from him, but this one: every morning I ask myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? It's a good question. I mean, I found out my really great friend has brain cancer. She's living every day as if it were her last. But are you doing it? What drives you and what are your core values? So we also made a list of core values, and this is your company culture. So what is your company culture? Is it honesty? Is it transparency? I have a bunch of 20-something-year-olds working at my company, and it was amazing to see the thought that went into defining our company culture and our values. It's very big thinking that a lot of larger companies don't even go through, I don't think, or at least you don't see the outcome of it. And that, I think, since everybody got to contribute, they have that buy-in. So as you're developing your teams, let them contribute and bring back all of their contributions to the full picture of your company. So one of the things that I look at is the book Good to Great. How many people have read that? So it's all talking about getting the right people on the bus. And you don't always have to be the driver of the bus too. You could be the driver at first, and then you could step to the side and sit in the passenger seat. And as long as you have the right people on the bus, you can drive the bus in the right direction. So the landscape of PR and social media and media design and all of these different things are changing almost daily. We're figuring out about new Google algorithms. We have new Facebook algorithms. And it's really trying to find, okay, how can we be the best at what we do? It's not like it was 10 years ago. But if you have the right people on your bus, you can figure out how are you going to go together in a new direction. When I started Marketing Maven, we're purely PR. Marketing Maven, public relations, PR only, and we had to transition into integrated marketing. What does that mean? Well, now it's social media. Now it's Hispanic marketing, and we have the right team, and we're transitioning and going the right direction together. The other big issue is figuring out what the passion of your team is, so that way they are your brand advocates. You don't think about brand advocates for a company typically. You think of it for a consumer brand. All right, who's going to be supporting Nike? Who's going to be supporting Starbucks? Who's going to be supporting this new beauty line that just came out? But who are your advocates for you and your company? That's a big question. And if you can figure out what makes your employees passionate, then they could probably be your advocate. I'll go back to this process that we did, finding a nonprofit. We said, all right, what are our values? Who are we as a company? We have a lot of fitness and lifestyle products. Let's partner up with this company called Back on My Feet. It's a running organization. It's not just running, it's helping homeless people. Homeless people and running. That usually doesn't go together, but it does in this organization. So our team actually got to go out and do media training with people that were homeless, which was a huge experience for us because we're just used to media training CEOs of companies and spokespeople. But to actually have each person play a role in working with people directly from this organization, they got to put their heart and passion into this project and made everything that they did at work seem more meaningful. Because we are great at getting companies in the media. But what if we could get a company in the media that was a nonprofit and we weren't getting compensated for it? And it was just a very special thing. And we got to run with everybody and got New York Times, got tons of coverage. And it was really easy for us to get coverage too. But again, this brought us together as a team and it made everybody feel very positive about it. We have another client called Listen Up Espanol. They're a call center. If you have ever been in a call center, you know how miserable it is. you're like little rats sitting there in a cage with a headset on, answering the phone as the calls come in all day long. And these people in the call center, they're 800 agents. They're in Hermosillo, Mexico, and they are able to generate $1 per order to a different charity. This is something really special for them. So they were able to go and have a fiesta for orphans and do all of these great things, but this made them want to be there every day. And call center agents have super, super, super high turnover because, again, you're sitting there for 8 to 12 hours in a little area with a headset on, and it's not that glamorous. So, finding your passion helps to communicate your work with others, connect your work with your lifestyle, and then you can figure out why is it that you're getting up in the morning. So if you just think yourself right now, what is it that you love to do? Do you love to educate? Do you love to get appreciation for your design? When were you the happiest at your work? What type of work was it? And then what makes you feel completely in your element? So if you've heard somebody motivational, why did they motivate you? What was it about that? And then figure out what you can do with your talents that God gave you to go share them with others. Fortunately, if somebody says, what is your ideal job? I said, I'm doing it. They say, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. Well, that's true to some extent, but you still have a lot of stress as being an entrepreneur. So my challenge to you is figuring out what is it that you're passionate about? How are you going to actually use that? And maybe when you create your Q3 and Q4 goals as a challenge, you can figure out, all right, well, how am I going to go beyond myself and share my talents with other people? And maybe it's just educating them about what it is that you do. I personally became an entrepreneur in 2009 during the recession. Great timing. Great timing. It was my husband that gave me the kick in the butt and said, Lindsey, you hate your job. You just need to quit and you're miserable. And I said, yeah, but what if? Go out there and hustle and get some contracts and bring them in. And I had a check for $4,000 to deposit in my business checking account before I had even opened it. So that's really exciting. But again, it is your network because that was a referral. I called everybody that I'd done business with and said, hey, I opened my own business. Hey, I opened my own business. So, referrals, as you know, are a huge source of success for your business. But the other question is, maybe your family and friends don't really understand what you do. Mine don't. Have you seen the PR things that's like, here's what my mom thinks I do. Here's what my friends think I do. That's like all red carpet stuff. Here's what my coworkers think I do. And here's what I think I do. And they have that for every industry. So it really is communicating that to your significant other, to your parents or your family, to your coworkers. It's a difficult position I'm in right now that my company has grown. I have 15 people, and I was talking about this last night. I'm not doing the media relations, picking up the phone and calling the media myself. Some people probably aren't doing the artwork themselves anymore, and that might be what you love. Maybe you're not doing the programming yourself, but as your business grows, you have to move into a different role, and that means being the passenger on the bus and letting somebody else be the driver and not freaking out because they're driving. So that has been a challenge, but that is what I would see as motivation to look at other CEOs of companies who have been able to do that successfully And what is it that helped them let go? I read a really interesting article in Entrepreneur magazine a few weeks ago, and it was from the woman from PepsiCo. And the question is, can you really have it all? Can you go to work and be a good wife and a good daughter and a good mother and all of these different pressures that everybody has today? And the mom came, she was just going to announce that she became president at PepsiCo, came in, and the mom's standing at the top of the stair, her mother, who was babysitting her daughter, and said, go get us some milk at the store. I was just going to make a big announcement. I'm the president of PepsiCo. Okay, you can leave your crown at the door and go get some milk. We need milk in the morning. But again, that's just showing different roles for everybody. And it doesn't matter who you are, but everybody just needs to know that what your core values are and what your passion is. And that's the difficulty of being in that position. So I did want to talk a little bit about leadership as well. We talked a little bit about who are those natural leaders at your company, and how are you actually going to motivate them to do great work for your company. And we found that letting them decide who they want on their team is a big deal, and also what they want to try and accomplish, and to have those benchmarks. So going beyond ourselves, I am actually just going to close by saying, how do you spread your passion? How do you get involved? Social media obviously is a big part of this. And also you can publicize it. It's pretty easy to go to a media contact and say, hey, I'm involved with this. Can you cover it? So I have a handout as well, but I just wanted this to be more of a motivational conversation because we are entrepreneurs, and originally, I really didn't know who would be here in terms of an audience, and so it was more relating what you do to the people around you, because if there are programmers, for example, I don't speak programming. I'm never going to speak programming. That's a foreign concept to me. I have a designer. I have to know how to instruct the designer. I just know what I like. I've taken some design classes, but I'm not a designer. That's not what I'm good at, and that's why I hire people that are good at it. I have a content person, a copywriter. Again, I can make suggestions, but it has to come from her. So just to make sure that there's no confusion among everybody that is involved in this content process, there's graphic content, there's written content, there's the content strategists. There's so many chefs in the kitchen that it's extremely frustrating, and all of us in the room together right now are talking about totally different things, but they all are put together in kind of like a melting pot of content. And really, how do you get around that is communication. And it's extremely difficult to communicate with all of these different programs. And I have CEOs of companies asking us, well, what type of files do you need and what sort of graphic assets? And it's part of a whole onboarding process. And it is difficult from the very beginning if they don't understand that. So I think maybe to make our own lives easier, it would be great if we had a little cheat sheet of terms for programmers or designers or copywriters, just so everybody knows what everybody's talking about. And we had to do this for social media as well. And social media, we have a cross-educational forum at our company every other Friday. So we actually have our social media manager explain, well, why does it matter that the Facebook algorithm changed? How is our account executive supposed to explain this to the client on the phone of why they have fewer impressions this week than they had the week before? Because the Facebook algorithm changed. Why does a producer care so much about their YouTube videos and how high this is ranking? Because, the Google algorithms changed. So I think just something to educate each other. Yes, it's excellent to be an expert in your own field, and you could be fantastic at your graphic design, but if you can't explain it to your client, I mean, you just dug yourself into a really deep hole. Same thing with the programming too. So that's my main message, is communication, and communication is key, and you always hear that, but realistically, it'll probably cause us all a lot less stress if we just learn how to communicate with each other in this world of programming and graphic design.
Lindsey, delightful. Thank you so much for being a part of this.